Hello my dear friends, how are you doing today? I hope you're all full of energy and set for another story. Today our story is about hardworking and laziness. Now, are you a hardworking person yourself? Do you have lazy friends? When you have to do something, do you put it off or you do that unplanned? What will happen if we put off everything? Well, today our story is about the ants. You know, the ants are so hardworking. And a grasshopper. The grasshopper doesn't think that working in the summer is such a good thing. Well, follow me to the story to see what happens to them. Once upon a time in a beautiful green land, a grasshopper was living. The grasshopper was a good singer and he always wanted to play. The summer was around and the sun was shining at its best. And all of the animals and insects were so happy that the summer is around. The grasshopper was so happy too. He loved summer and he sang songs about it. One day, he was lying on the ground beside the road and he was singing about the summer. He enjoyed the sunshine of summer and he was lying on the beautiful soft leaves. Suddenly, he heard something. The ants were lining up and marching through the road. They were carrying some grains. The grasshopper looked at them and thought to himself, what are they doing? The summer is only the time for playing. Suddenly, some of the grains fell down off their backs. And the grasshopper, when he saw the grains, jumped and ate the grains. The father ant saw him and he shouted, what are you doing? We have worked really hard to get them. You can't eat our grains like that. The grasshopper said, I'm sorry, but they were on the ground and I ate them. What are you doing right now? You shouldn't work at the summer. The father smiled and said, I see. I think you don't work at summer. The grasshopper said, no, summertime is only for playing and singing songs. But the ant father said, that's not true. We work and plan to gather grains in the summer, and then when winter comes, our nest is warm and full of food, and then we can play and sing songs. But the grasshopper said, that's not so. I'm not gonna waste my summer and work. The winter is so far away. I will pray for now, and then after some time, I'll start to gather something. The ant father said, but you shouldn't put off your works like this. The grasshopper didn't even listen to him and hopped away. The ant father said, but what about the grains that you ate? The grasshopper said, okay, I will show you a way to a wheat farm and you can go there. I myself like corn best, but I think it would be hard for you to walk to the cornfield. The ant father smiled and they went away. The grasshopper hopped and hopped and hopped until he got to the cornfield. Then he found some place safe and then he started to eat some corn. He was enjoying the sunshine. He didn't even think about the ants and what they said to him. Now, you want to know what will happen next? I'll come back and I will tell you. Stay with me. Welcome back. Now, if you remember, the grasshopper made a home for himself in the cornfield. The days passed and passed, and he was so happy in his home. He was always playing, and he was always eating corn. Corn was his favorite, and he always was singing beautiful songs. He enjoyed the sunshine. One day, he woke up to a very loud noise. He was so scared. What was it? What do you think? It was the farmer. He was harvesting the corn. The grasshopper was so sad. He said, "Oh my God, my home, it's lost." But he had to hop away because if he stayed there, the farmer might even kill him. So he hopped and hopped and hopped. Suddenly, he saw a mushroom. He thought to himself, "Okay, that's not a problem. I will sleep under the shadow of this mushroom, and then I will find some food for myself. I will find something. It's still summer." Suddenly, he heard another voice. It was a squirrel. She was following a nut, and the nut was coming towards the mushroom very fast. Suddenly, the nut hit the mushroom, and the mushroom fell down. The grasshopper was so sad and so angry at the squirrel. He said, "What are you doing?" The squirrel said, "I'm sorry, but I'm collecting nuts in the winter." The squirrel said, "They say that it's gonna be a long winter this year, and I have food back at home, but I think it's never hurting to have more than enough." The grasshopper said, "But it's still summer. Why do you work so hard?" The squirrel said, "But we have to work in the summer. The winter is gonna be cold. We cannot find any food out there." The squirrel said, "I'm sorry about your mushroom. I will give you some nuts. Will that help you?" The grasshopper said, "No, I don't like nuts. I will just go away." The grasshopper hopped and hopped and hopped through the field. While he was hopping through the field, he saw all the animals and insects gathering some food for themselves. He thought, maybe I should gather some food for myself. But then again, he thought, but no, I still have plenty of time. I will just go to the apple garden. He hopped and hopped and hopped, and he got to the garden. Most of the leaves of the garden trees were gone, but he found something at the end. He found a big tree with some leaves on it, and there were also some apples on it as well. He climbed the tree and ate some apple. He thought to himself, this is a good home. I will just rest here for the rest of the summer, and when the summer is gone, I'm gonna go gather some food for myself. But he didn't so. Weeks and weeks passed, and every day he put off his work. So one day he woke up. It was so cold. There was snow all over the ground. He was so surprised to see the snow. He realized that the winter is coming. Everything was frozen. He couldn't even eat any apple. So he was so scared. He hopped away and he didn't know where to go. There was nothing on the field, only snow and snow. He thought to himself, there is no one out. What should I do? Then suddenly something came up to his mind, and he said, okay, I'm going to go to the mouse's house. It's gonna be warm there, and I know that there will be plenty of food there. What do you think that will happen next? Well, stay with me and I will tell you the rest of the story. Alright, my dear friends, if you remember, the grasshopper was left all alone in the snow. So he decided to go to his friend's house. He hopped and hopped and hopped through the snow. His feet were so cold, but he hoped that he can find some place safe in his friend's house. He went to the mouse's house and he knocked the door. Knock, knock, knock. The mother mouse opened the door. and he greeted the grasshopper very warmly. He was such a kind lady. The grasshopper looked into their house. Suddenly, he saw a lot of mice in the hole. He asked the mother mouse, "What is going on?" The mother mouse said, "Well, it's winter and I'm having my cousins over. Isn't it nice to have your cousins over when you can't go out and play? We're together here and we're so happy. Do you want anything?" Then she asked, "Do you want anything? Why are you here at this hour? It's snowy and cold outside." The grasshopper thought to himself that this house is full. There is no place for me. And then I don't think that there is any food left in here. So he said, "No, I was just visiting. So I'm happy to see you." The mother mouse said, "Thank you for your visiting. I'm so happy to see you too." The grasshopper said goodbye and left the house. He was so sad. He didn't know what to do. The ground was covered with snow, and he didn't know where to go. Suddenly, he remembered the ants. He thought to himself, "I'm gonna go there, and maybe I will find something to eat. I will even beg for food. I cannot linger out here. It's so cold." So he hopped and hopped and hopped. It was so hard to get to the ant's house because it was so cold there that he couldn't even feel his feet. He got to the ant house and he knocked. Knock, knock, knock. The ant opened the door. It was the father ant, and he was so surprised to see the grasshopper at that hour. He said surprisingly, "What are you doing here? The snow is covering everywhere." The grasshopper was shivering. He couldn't even give an answer. So, what do you think that will happen next? Well, stay with me and I will come back with the rest of the story. Well, if you remember, the grasshopper went to the ant's house, but he was so cold he couldn't even say anything. The ant greeted him warmly and invited him into his home. The grasshopper went inside, and then when he was warm enough and when he fed on the wheat and corn, he said, "Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that I treated you that way in the summer." So the ant said, "No, that's okay. It's not a problem. I'm happy to help." The grasshopper looked at their house. It was so warm and it was so full of food. He was so happy to be there. He saw the ants playing and singing. He thought to himself, "I wish that I did the same in the summer. Now I don't have any home." The ant saw the sadness in Grasshopper's eyes. So he said, "Well, I will let you linger here on one condition." The grasshopper said, "What? I will do anything. I can't get outside in this snow." So the ant said, "I will have you at my house for the whole winter, only if you sing for us. You have such a good voice." The grasshopper was so happy. He loved to sing. So he accepted it with a smiley face. He was so happy to be with the ants and his children. That winter was so cold and so long, just like the squirrel said. But this time, the grasshopper was not sad at all because he had a home, and he was so happy to see the ants every day. The winter passed finally, and the spring came finally. The flowers were growing, and the field was getting green again. The grasshopper wanted to sing outside. He was so happy to see the green field. But this time was not like the other time. He was working with the ants and he stored some food for himself. Well, he was not lazy anymore, and that's the best thing, don't you think? Well, I hope that you enjoyed this story, and I hope that you learned something from it. Now, don't go anywhere. I'm not finished. Come back and I will tell you the moral of the story. Welcome back. Now, what did we learn from this story? We learned that hard work always pays off, and we should do that even if it's difficult for us. Take a look again at the story. The grasshopper wanted to sing all the summer, and he didn't want to work because he wanted to play. I know that it's fine and fun to play, but it's not fine to play all the time. We should always have some time off for our works and for building a future and be successful. It could be studying, and even cleaning our house could be counted as hard work. Now, which one are you? Are you lazy or you're a hardworking person? I know that you're a hardworking person. And also, always remember that Islam always orders us to be a hardworking person and not be lazy. Lazy people cannot be successful, and it's only with hard work that we can achieve something. Did you like today's story? I hope so. I will miss you so much, but I will be here tomorrow at this time. So don't forget to tune in. I will see you. Bye.